wasn't yours. I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back to who I was before. I like me better, I like me better.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So really quick video because I don't know if you guys have heard, but the streets are saying that Sephora is done. It's a goner. If you want to know why they're saying that, then let's go. So earlier this week, it was announced that Fenty Beauty is now going to be sold at Ulta Beauty, which is a shocker to people because it was exclusive to Sephora. I tried looking for like media coverage on that to see if, you know, any press has been run on that announcing it. I only saw it talked about on Google, on like forums like Reddit, stuff like that. So really the only place I see this information coming from is Trend Mood, and she announced it as a rumor that Fenty Beauty is coming to Ulta. We'll see if that's true, but let's go off thinking that is true. Fenty Beauty is now going to be sold at Ulta. Do I think like that is the end for Sephora? Like this is a win in the books for Ulta. Ulta now sits at the top of the food chain? No, because taking opinion aside and, you know, looking at numbers, because we like looking at that. I don't know if you guys know, but in 2021, Sephora was ranked among the top 100 companies out there. Okay, like sitting next to, you know, Amazon, iPhone, Microsoft, Tesla, all that stuff. I think it ranks specifically at 59, I think is where it ranked. So losing one brand, which mind you, they didn't even really lose. It's not like Fenty Beauty is not going to be sold at Sephora anymore. It's just going to be sold at its competitor as well. And people were saying, how could Sephora let that happen? If you don't know, Sephora, Fenty Beauty, they both tie back to LVMH. That is the parent company, owns them both, makes all of the decisions. And they are, you know, they are advertised or spoken about as a high quality, you know, luxury brands type thing. You know, they give you the Louis Vuittons, the Fendis, the Sephoras, the Fenty Beauties, all that stuff. And, you know, you can like look at how all their brands are advertised as, you know, they're all advertised as like luxury, prestigious, that type of stuff, right? So they are who is making the decision, and they're not loyal to Sephora. They're not saying, well, how are we going to make sure Sephora stays on top as against Ulta? No, they're loyal to LVMH. So if putting Fenty in Ulta is gonna make us, LVMH, more money, that's what we're gonna do. And Sephora, you'll be all right, because they know Sephora, you'll be all right with Fenty being sold at Ulta as well. So right now, do I think like losing or Fenty also being at Ulta is going to do anything to Sephora? No. Do I think down the line, if, you know, Ulta keeps acquiring different brands and stuff like that, will they do something to Sephora? No, because the two brands are two completely different aesthetics. They market themselves two different ways, and people shop at the two places for two different reasons, which I'll get into. So it's like, in my head, down the line, even if it's not right now, the only way I see one brand being the downfall of the other is one of these brands has to acquire every single brand that the other one offers, and for some reason the other brand wouldn't be able to sell those brands anymore. Like Ulta would have to get every contract that is in Sephora and put it in Ulta, and now Sephora can't sell those brands anymore. That's the only way like Ulta would be the downfall of Sephora. And that's not going to happen because, like I said, two different aesthetics, different reasons that people shop there. And while I was looking at, you know, the conversation going on social media about this whole Fenty at Ulta thing, I saw one specific thing that said something like, now that Fenty is going to be at Ulta, I wish Ulta would start getting rid of the drugstore brands that they carry and start going after more brands that would make people want to shop at Ulta over Sephora. And I looked at that like, no, why would they do that? why would Ulta get rid of the drugstore brands that they sell? Because going towards the aesthetic that Ulta gives you, and when I'm saying aesthetic, this is the marketing, the advertising, the target audience that Ulta wants. When you think Ulta wants you to think drugstore brands. They want you to think affordable. They want you to think cheaper brands. And just looking at how the stores of Ulta are set up, you see it's brighter in there. It's the logos, the aesthetic in there. For some reason, people don't like this word, but it's more basic in there. There's nothing wrong with being basic or simple, but that's just what it is when you go into Ulta's. No, they pride themselves on being the place that's going to offer you a more affordable shopping experience. And it's like every brand has a target audience, and those brands, so that they can continue or they can build to being multi-million dollar businesses, they are going to incorporate some things that would appeal to other people who aren't the target audience, but their main goal is still the target audience. So Ulta's goal is more affordable, is more drugstore, is more, you know, those cheaper-ish type brands. So why would they get rid of those brands? Like that's what they want to acquire more of. They're doing that. They're doing that with just, you know, more like smaller indie brands, like pulling in that type of way. Whereas Sephora wants you to look at Sephora as, we're a brand that's owned by LVMH. We are luxury, we're prestigious, we are legacy brands. And if you look at how Sephora is decorated, how they market themselves, even that it's black and white, you know, neutral colors are looked at as more elegant, they're looked at as classier, right? More simplistic. They're also simplistic in that sense as well, but they dress it up a little bit more. And then, you know, the brands that they offer in there, it's more expensive in there. You know, you're getting Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, La Mer sold in there. So the two companies are offering two different things. And we've talked about this before. People just don't like to admit it, but they certainly shop at the two different, or they choose not to shop at either place for the different experiences and the different aesthetics that the two different places offer. People like shopping at, think back a couple years ago when like Tumblr was popular, you know, those pictures of like storefronts, you know, people wanted to get pictures in front of Victoria's Secret, in front of Chanel, in front of Dior, because it just gave that aesthetic that, yes, I am trendy, I am sitting at the popular table, I have money, that experience, stuff like that. Sephora falls into that. Again, all goes back to being a company that is owned by LVMH. But people like shopping at Sephora simply because you're in Sephora. You are looked at like, again, I know people don't like being honest, but you're looked at like, okay, I've made it. Okay, I got my little $20. I can go in Sephora. I can buy my beauty blender. It's that aesthetic in there. People say it's self-care when I'm going into Sephora, right? Look, my little Sephora bag, a little reel and stuff like that. Think of the girlies that are part of like luxury content creation. They're gonna be quick to let you know, I'm going to Sephora. I'm gonna go drop a bag at Sephora. How eager are the same girls to be like, okay, I'm gonna go do an Ulta haul. Before people try to argue, do some people do both? Yes, they do. But again, it's a whole aesthetic thing. It's like what you're seen doing, what you're not doing. But when it comes to Ulta, again, people don't like to admit this, but look at what I said I saw someone saying about Ulta. For Ulta to really start competing with Sephora, you need to get rid of the drugstore brands. Why? Because people look at drugstore brands like it's cheap, so that means it's gonna have cheap ingredients, or it has cheap packaging, it has tacky packaging, it's gonna have cheap quality. People look at, you know, the price of it and that whole aesthetic of it, and it's like, it's not a good quality type thing, so I don't want to shop there. I'm saying, like, you're literally seeing someone say, you got to take these more affordable brands out of there and start acquiring more, you know, Fenty's, Lancome, which Lancome's already in there, but you guys see what I'm saying. So you can really compete with Sephora, because that's how Sephora is looked at. Sephora is looked at as that prestigious place, that luxury-ish type place. However, it works in the opposite for Ulta, where when it's like a luxury type thing, or, you know, that bougie type of aesthetic, it can be overwhelming for some people. It can also be a turnoff for some people. A lot of people do not like, you know, the whole luxury aesthetic for very obvious reasons. They, you know, feel it gives off a kind of snobby type of feel. It could also be overwhelming. I'm sure you guys have seen posts and stuff like that before, where people say like, I can't go into Sephora or MAC, because MAC is also, you know, same type of aesthetic as Sephora. I can't go into MAC or Sephora without a full face done, because I don't want the employees to treat me like I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't want the employees to be mean to me, because again, some people look at it, having that type of like luxury, prestigious type of aesthetic, as snobby, or like you're being looked down upon, so they don't want to shop there for that reason. So you see how like they offer two very different aesthetics, and even though there are people who clearly shop at both, there are some people who like, no, I only shop at Ulta, or no, I only shop at Sephora. So for that reason alone, like those two brands are going to be just fine. One is not canceling out the other. But what I will say is where one clearly wins over the other, Ulta's reward system is spanking Sephora, and even Sephora knows that, because you've probably noticed in recent years them trying to do little things to kind of catch up there. You know, you've probably noticed there are more of those buy a fragrance and you get, you know, 4 times more points on your purchase, or you're noticing you can cash in, I think it's 500 points for $10 off. They have that cash in $2,500 points for $100 off. There are more sales at Sephora. Before, it really was a thing because it was only like, what, twice a year that Sephora did sales. Now you see them a little more frequently, whereas $2,500 points at Ulta, you take the whole store with 2,500 points when you cash it in for cash rewards. Because I think if you have like triple digit points, you can start getting, you know, like $20s, $30 off at Ulta. So Sephora is still spanked when it comes to Ulta's rewards point. But again, when it comes to Sephora, how Sephora moves, Sephora's aesthetic, it all kind of goes back to the whole, our parent company is LVMH. So it's like Sephora is going to do little things to keep up with its competitors, like including more sales or giving you more points, stuff like that. But this is not, Sephora saying this is not a freebie, okay? We're still that, you know, luxury, prestigious type thing. So we have to be somewhat exclusive, right? We have to be somewhat fancy. Like, think about luxury brands, Tom Ford, YSL, Chanel. They're not doing blockbuster, doorbuster, Black Friday, 70% everything must go. Because I said, I am Tom Ford. You're gonna buy me or you're not. Like, I don't care if you want a coupon or money off. Like, same thing kind of goes with Sephora, where you're like, what's not clicking? Why don't you have that same type of reward system that Ulta has, where it's like, where's Sephora? You know, which we don't want you to having 70% off on Natasha Denona, on a $150 foundation or eyeshadow palette. So even though Ulta wants you to think, you know, like drugstore affordable, they're gonna pull Fenty, they're gonna pull Lancome, they're gonna pull Kat Von D Beauty, so that they, you know, we're like, no, we can still play with Sephora, we can still play with the best of them. Sephora's not gonna go run out and say, okay, I'm gonna take e.l.f., I'm gonna take NYX, I'm gonna take Maybelline, because again, it's just not going with the aesthetic of Sephora. Even when they put ColourPop in there, people are like, what is going on? Why is ColourPop at Sephora? What Sephora is going to do so that they can, you know, maintain this competition, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they have done more, there's the whole clean beauty thing that Sephora kind of really pushes. The whole clean beauty debate is a whole other video. They're doing more Black owned businesses, more women owned businesses, more like LGBT owned businesses, but in the same type of like pocket that Sephora is used to giving in their stores. Fragrance is becoming more and more popular, and there's a battle in fragrance where people are like, I only wear, you know, the Baccarat Rouge or Kilian type fragrances. If you smell like Victoria's Secret's Love Spell, stay away from me. So, and I'm not saying that, I'm saying like that is an argument I'm seeing on social media. And again, Sephora knows this. So Sephora is pushing, you know, fragrance more. They're pushing the luxury fragrances more. They're pushing the, you can get Kilian here, you can't get Kilian over there type thing. So Sephora is reaching out for the brands that they're putting in there, but they're doing it so where it's still going to align with them. If you think like, you know, I mean, you never say never. You could start seeing more like e.l.f.s and whatnot in Sephora. Do I think that'll happen? I don't. But again, I'm also big on never say never. So I hope you guys are seeing what I'm saying, and like, it's just not, it's not realistic that one store is gonna take over the other one, because their personalities, their aesthetics are so different that for one to take over the other one, it would have to go against pretty much what that store is and the presence, the legacy that store has created for themselves, for them to do that. And neither one is going to do that because both of them are very successful brands. Like, there's a reason Ulta went to Target, right? And there's a reason why, you know, Sephora didn't go to Walmart. There's a reason why Sephora was in JCPenney, and you saw what happened with JCPenney. So after JCPenney, they went to Kohl's. In future years, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Sephora in, you know, like a Nordstrom or a Macy's. Like, you see how that makes sense there. Whereas Ulta in the future, you can see it in Walmart. You can see it in, I also probably wouldn't be surprised if you saw it in Kohl's. But they have created their own two lanes, and like those two lanes don't need to merge, and they're not going to. So they're both going to continue on just fine. I have also seen talk since Fenty is supposedly going over to Ulta, people saying, well, I hope that means it'll bring over Natasha Denona, it'll bring over Pat McGrath, it'll bring over this, that, and third. Again, I don't know about all that. If you guys did not know, Ulta did get Chanel, which I don't believe Chanel Beauty is offered at Sephora. I think it's like Macy's, Nordstrom, stuff like that. So that's a win for them. But let me know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think Ulta is going to start pulling brands like Pat McGrath, like La Mer, all that type of stuff. Let me know. Also, let me know if you think Sephora is going to start pulling brands like Wet n Wild, it's like CoverGirl, like NYX. And let me know if you want that to happen. I know people who are like really in the makeup world, you know, you've got collections, you got stuff like that. I know they like to see those type of merges, stuff like that, because they want to shop specifically at one place for like the rewards, the benefits and stuff like that. But I be telling y'all, like, you gotta think outside of the online makeup community and just think of makeup consumers in general. When I tell y'all they do not care about stuff like that, I'm telling you, they do not care about stuff like that. They don't even know about stuff like that. Like I'm saying, they look at it from a, oh, that place is drugstore, that place is luxury, this place is gonna make me feel fancy, or that place is too fancy for me. Like, that's how makeup consumers are looking at it. I be telling the makeup community online, like, you gotta think outside of yourself. But you know, like, I'm that person. I'm gonna be here to let you think outside of yourself. So let me know all that in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about Fenty Beauty going to Ulta, supposedly. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, turn notification bells, all that, guess where, down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, 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 yeah.